most of them. We also know where the critical species occur on the island. For example, most of the endemic species, most of the species that we know that are endangered, we know where they are. We also have an idea of the habitat status, and that's important that we protect the habitat. The vegetation, not just fauna or wild animals, we also concern about flora as well.
This assessment gave a greater understanding of the forest's biodiversity and has led to recommendations for sustainable management practices.
Why would St. Lucia care about this being done? It's about stewardship. All citizens are stewards of their nation. And this became codified by something called the Rio Treaty, that every nation is responsible for the stewardship of the species that occur within its nation, and knowing what is there is required before you can be a steward. So that's what we're part of, is coming up with what is here and what are the values of those things.
When we come back, we'll take a look at other environmental projects happening around our island.
Some countries inherit vast mineral wealth. Our inheritance is our sapphire waters, diamond cascades, emerald forests, and priceless wildlife, the heartbeat of our island. Be the hand that helps, not the hand that destroys. Conserve our natural resources. Protect our livelihood.
Significant increases in population and development along the island's coasts are applying pressure on its fragile marine resources. If we do not carefully monitor St. Lucia's coastal habitats and implement and enforce policies to protect them, they will continue to be under threat.
Between 1995 and 2001, for instance, reefs along the central west coast lost an average of 47% coral cover. The absence of important coastal habitat data has made it difficult to make informed decisions on the management of marine resources. Environmental data is also needed to enact policies to guide the use of our coastal resources.
The OECS St. George's Declaration guides environmental management for most of the islands in the OECS. And all the islands have a national environmental policy and a national environmental management strategy. St. Lucia has this NEMS, as it's referred to. And since we're talking about coastal and marine issues, what St. Lucia seeks to do to implement this NEMS for coastal and marine issues is through the development of a coastal zone management policy. This was approved by the Cabinet of Ministers in 2004. And it established a coastal zone management unit in 2005. And once this unit was established along with an advisory committee, it was realized that there is not sufficient baseline data to guide management decisions for coastal and marine areas on the island.
The Coastal Habitat Mapping Project aimed to correct this problem by gathering key data that can now be used to implement policies as to the sustainable use of our coastal areas. Over the past year, a team of scientists from the UK, together with the Ministry of Physical Development and the Environment, undertook substantial research along St. Lucia's coastline. One of the results is a detailed map of St. Lucia's coastal habitats from Roseau Bay to Saltibus Point. The team also collected information on marine health and quality.
The other thing that we've been trying to do is characterise different features of all the different types of habitat, so that managers can tell whether the habitat, whether it's a coral reef or a seagrass bed, whether over time it's getting better or worse or staying the same, so that they can then link the habitat map to management.
We've also got clear evidence that coastal zone management really has to engage in a partnership approach. We are bringing scientists in to understand what the facts are under the sea, But to make this work effectively, we need politicians to be part of this decision-making process. So the P word, the partnership approach, really is fundamental to future success, and that's what the real outcome of this project is.
This initiative has equipped key stakeholders with the tools to monitor and better manage the use of St. Lucia's coastal resources. Like most countries, St. Lucia depends on fossil fuels for the generation of electricity. However, the island aims to modernize its energy sector with the development of a sustainable energy plan. This plan will diversify the energy sector by generating electricity using renewable resources.
One of the activities under the EMF program was to look at an alternative energy source. Now here in St. Lucia we've got the sun and the sunshine, which perhaps is one energy source that we have not been utilizing. The Sustainable Development Environmental section of the Ministry of Physical Development approached us to do a pilot project. And that's basically the photovoltaic pilot project, is using the power from the sun to generate electricity.
It is a grid-connected system. That means there are no batteries required for storage of energy. That makes those systems much more cost-efficient and also basically, like I said, maintenance-free, because there are no batteries involved and there's only a smaller number of electrical devices. How it works, the electricity is synchronized to the electricity from the utility company, and whenever there is a situation that the solar system produces more energy than it is actually required in the building, the electricity will be fed back to the grid, and the electrical meter would record that by spinning backwards. And in situations where more electricity is needed than the system produces, well, electricity flows into the building as normal.
This system here on the National Trust building will generate a peak of 12 kilowatts. Now, there are two other systems to be installed under this project. The next one being the Castries Market, 4 kilowatts approximately, and the Before Comprehensive Secondary School Campus B, 2 kilowatts. And apart from having the panels on top of the roofs, there will also be displays, digital displays that will be able to show the public how much power is being generated.
The photovoltaic project in St. Lucia is part of our overall involvement in the CARICOM region. We are promoting renewable energy. We assist the governments in improving the framework conditions for the use of renewable energy and energy efficiency. And as part of our activities in St. Lucia, we were involved in the technical specification of the 3 photovoltaic plants here in St. Lucia. We have selected the market as a very central place in St. Lucia to make the public aware of what photovoltaic can do for the energy system or energy sector in St. Lucia.
The photovoltaic demonstration project will give St. Lucians access to a renewable source of energy. This will contribute to our economic development by reducing the country's reliance on fossil fuels, which have very volatile prices. It also allows St. Lucia to do its part to safeguard the environment by using a cleaner energy source. Conserve our natural resources. Protect our livelihood.
The Ancillary Water Supply Improvements Project aims to overcome what has been one of the greatest hindrances to the development of this West Coast village. Being implemented by the French-based company Pharmex Technologies Limited, this project will bring a sustainable water supply to the people of Ancillary and its environs. At a cost of $6 million EC dollars, this is the single largest environmental project ever undertaken by St. Lucia.
Ancillary has always had a water problem. In fact, the first meeting we had with the community group, they complained bitterly about the quality of the water that they got in Ancillary. People were saying that they got fishes coming out of the taps and crayfish and a lot of particles which perhaps made the water system very unhealthy in Ancillary. Again, one of the activities under the EMF program was the supply of potable water. And when we met with the community group, based on our discussions, we were convinced that we should address the water system in Ancillary.
As far as I can recall, again, due to the quality of the water at times, it was thought that the children would be affected by way of having diarrhea or bellyache and vomiting and this sort of thing. And some of that was associated with the quality of the water. To what extent it was so, I cannot tell you for sure, but I know there was some association between the quality of the water and the type of conditions the children were experiencing.
The Ancillary Water Supply Improvement Project involved a number of components. The first was the installation of a treatment plant to ensure that residents receive high-quality water. A 200,000-gallon storage tank as well as a new distribution system were also provided. This distribution system includes a pump to ensure that people at higher elevations also have access to a consistent and reliable water supply.
Our survival, the survival of Ancillary, the survival of St. Lucia, the survival of this global world that we're living in depends on three main things. One, the need for fresh air. That's why we're talking about air pollution all the time. There is the need for fresh and nutritious food. And today we are looking at bringing fresh, clean water to the people of Ancillary Canneries. What we are doing here today is not just for us, but it's for the generations to come that they are going to inherit a good project, a project where Ancillary finally can drink clean, fresh water.
Well, let me tell you that I would say 100% of the population of Ancillary are very happy about that project because we have suffered quite a bit over time, and when we heard that the project was coming on stream, we were extremely excited about it. And we are waiting very patiently for the project to be completed so that it will be fully operational. And I think we are all very happy. And to those who provided the funding and the technical assistance for having the project going, we are deeply grateful.
The community of Choiseul has faced some difficult economic challenges. The lack of a sustainable water distribution system and decreasing levels of soil fertility have led to low agricultural productivity. The result has been mass migration and disillusionment among members of the community.
The water had been coming to the farmers in an open canal, and lately, maybe a few years ago, part of it was being piped. But this was not reliable enough because we were tapping from the river, and by the time we get to the on the land to the farmers, I mean, the loss was so great that it was virtually impossible, to really farm on consistently.
At a cost of 1.4 million EC dollars, the Choiseul Economic Revitalization Program provided a 150,000-gallon water tank as well as 13,000 feet of piping to the farmers of Delsay. This has planted the seeds for a new age of economic growth in the region.
Here, it's a very dry area. We can only produce in the wet season, and the wet season, as you know, is for a few months. Right now, with the water, we would be able to produce on a yearly basis. So this is one of the biggest impacts it's going to have on the farming community.
This is going to be what we refer to as a very modern system. Pipes buried, every time you open your pipe you have. And one of the conditions is that everyone will have to have a storage tank where you store water in your yard. So every time you require water, you have storage. And we'll be doing drip irrigation system. Drip irrigation conserves water tremendously. So there's going to be no wastage. And people can work all through the night. You can open your system and you can irrigate your crops during the night. And then we will move from the traditional crops of the peanuts and the sweet potatoes into the more exotics, the broccoli and the cauliflower, the cantaloupe and the honeydew and the watermelon, so that we can create immediate impact through input substitution, supply to the hotels, and in the level of production, we also want to make sure that this impact is felt in terms of the quality that we are producing. And there'll be lots of training of the farmers in terms of the proper use of pesticides, the management of pesticides, and in some cases, non-use of pesticides. So we hope to include some levels of organic farming.
A lot of our people, even those without lands, would be able to find employment on the farms on the lands that will be farmed. Then we will have the young persons who are out here. There will be spin-offs. Some of them they will be able to buy from the farmers and go out to the market and sell. Plus some of them with the water, they can get involved in quick cash crops. We want to see that project not just bringing just water, but we want to at least let us see what the water means, what the water will bring. And I can tell you it will bring immense development for this place.
While all of these projects have had a tremendous impact on the use of St. Lucia's natural resources, they are not enough. Far more important is that every St. Lucian take personal responsibility for our country. What determines the future of our natural resources is the way we dispose of our garbage, farm our lands, build our homes, and use our rivers and seas. Always remember,
don't remove trees from water catchments, engage in unplanned developments, build houses without proper drainage systems, dispose of waste in rivers, waterways, or in street gutters, or cultivate on steep slopes or forest lands.
By working together, we can develop our nation in a sustainable way. We should all aim to allow future generations to inherit a St. Lucia that is as beautiful and rich in biodiversity as the one we enjoy today.